everyone. I would like for everyone to stand, please, and remain standing while we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated.
Good evening. My name is LaVon Bratton, and it is my honor and humble pleasure to stand before you this evening in my new role as first-year principal of Evening High School in Shoemaker Complex. First, I thank you for your efforts put forth in joining us on this evening for such a glorious occasion, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our 28th Spring Commencement Ceremony. Just over 28 years ago, Evening High School graduated its first class, which consisted of 2 students. Since that time, there have been approximately 700 graduates. It is with great pride that I am now a part and leader of this gem in this community. Regardless of what path led you to Evening High School, I am confident you, as the student, and your family are proud of your accomplishment. You have arrived, but it doesn't stop here. This diploma you will have earned tonight serves as your ticket to endless possibilities. Please don't miss the opportunity to excel to the next level. We're counting on you to move this community, state, nation, and world forward, because you can do it. Please don't let us down. Tonight, I want to take a moment to introduce you to some of our guests. We have guests on stage. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Donna Hanlon, Superintendent of Wacomico County Public Schools. Mrs. Kimberly Miles, Assistant Superintendent for Student and Family Services. Mr. Aaron Deal, Supervisor of New Teacher Induction and Educational Technology in Dublin as our guest speaker tonight. Mr. Gene Malone, Board Chairman. Mr. John Palmer, Board Member. And we have other guests who are joining us from the front row. To my left, to my right, Mr. Michael Mary, Board Vice Chair, Ms. Tanya Laird-Lewis, Board Member, Ms. Ann Sudowski, Board Member, and also Mr. Don Brady, who is Director of Secondary Education. And now I bring to you greetings from our great leader, Dr. Donna Hanlon.
Good evening, Mr. Malone, Mr. Palmer, Mrs. Bratton, faculty, parents, and most of all, graduates of the spring class of 2021. Students, congratulations on having reached this incredible milestone in your lives. Your hard work and perseverance have paid off. Each one of you has no doubt successfully navigated many challenges at various points through your educational experience, including the considerable challenges of the pandemic and virtual learning. For years to come, this will be a moment in your own history that is unique and one that you will share with your children and grandchildren, that you graduated from high school during the coronavirus pandemic. But will you complain about what you lost because of your experience, or will you share how the world became a better place because of what we all as a society have learned during this time? I hope that we've learned the importance of family and friends, to appreciate unsung heroes, that material things are not as important as we may have once thought, to appreciate the gifts of nature, to value good health, and to appreciate the power of stillness as we were given the opportunity to unapologetically slow down. Kitty O'Meara, a retired teacher, summarized the hope that can come from looking at these past 15 months as an opportunity to heal and to learn from our experiences. She wrote, "And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still. And listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed." Graduates, the end of the coronavirus and your own commencement is an opportunity to begin anew. My wish for you is that you've not only learned the value of education, but that you live a life of hope and healing and are part of making the world a better place. To the parents and friends who are here with us tonight, congratulations to you as well. I always love this commencement, especially this commencement ceremony, because of your enthusiasm and your genuine joy in seeing the accomplishments of your graduates. And to the teachers and staff members who have worked so diligently to support and encourage our graduates to reach this milestone, especially over the course of the last 15 months, my heartfelt thanks and congratulations to you as well. Students, on behalf of the Board of Education and everyone in Wicomico County Public Schools, we want you to know how very proud we are of you and of your accomplishments. And we wish you the very best as you graduate from Wicomico County Public Schools.
Good evening and hello. I have the distinct honor and privilege to introduce our speaker for this evening, Mr. Aaron Deal. Truly a motivational speaker, an education consultant, and an amazing gentleman. Aaron Deal began his educational career as a substitute teacher and worked through the ranks to receive recognition as one of our state's most extraordinary teachers. Although he flourished as a professional, he struggled during his early college years and was academically dismissed from his university. However, he persevered and eventually earned both a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Education degree from Salisbury University, right here in Salisbury, Maryland. Years later, he was asked to return as an adjunct professor to train future teachers on the proper application of instructional technology. If it's related to technology and it can help in a classroom, he'll help you learn how to use it. He has received numerous awards, including the Nancy Grasmick Excellence for Minority Achievement Award, Wicomico County's Outstanding Technology Using Educator, the Omega Educator of the Year, the VFW Teacher of the Year Award, and in 2003 was selected as Wicomico County's Teacher of the Year. His most notable recognition came the very next year, in 2004, when he made history as the very first African-American teacher to ever win Maryland Teacher of the Year. Mr. Deal, go ahead and applaud. That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Serves that as much more. Thank you. Mr. Deal currently serves as both the Supervisor of Instructional Technology and the Supervisor of New Teacher Induction for Wicomico County Public Schools. He is also very actively involved in his church, where he serves as a district youth president and the minister of music. I wanted to look down to make sure I didn't miss anything, but without my glasses, I get to introduce Mr. Aaron Deal, a gentleman, a scholar, a person wise beyond his years, and a person who I can guarantee you will bring a message that will touch your heart and stay in your memories far beyond this evening's celebration. Please welcome Mr. Aaron Deal.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Kim Miles for that wonderful reception that she gave me there in introduction. And I am so glad to be here on today to welcome in the class of 2021. I wish I could see that big smile behind your face, but I know it's back there. We all have them covered up with masks. I was thinking about this moment and my non-traditional path to get where I am. And I read this story that just basically began to talk about it, and it spoke about a young man that had taught his dog how to retrieve ducks when he went hunting. He taught that dog to go out there and swim and bring back that duck over and over again, and then the dog got really good at it. And then after a while, he noticed something miraculous. Instead of swimming to get that duck, the dog actually walked on water and came back with the duck. Well, he was amazed, went and got one of his friends, brought his friend out to repeat the same thing. He got that duck out there, he sent his dog, and the dog walked on water over and over and over again. But his friend said nothing, and so he couldn't hold the anticipation anymore. And he said, "Isn't that amazing what my dog is doing?" And the young man just looked at him and said, "Well, I didn't want to say anything, but it's a shame your dog can't even swim." He totally missed what was amazing and miraculous and the achievement that that dog was actually achieving at that moment. And you're going to find individuals in your life that will do the same thing. They're going to look at your talents, they're going to look at your abilities, and somehow or another, they're going to find a way to downplay it. And we call those people haters. I know you've said that before, but that's what they are. And my message to you is just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. We don't even have time to deal with individuals that want to have conversations to us about what's impossible, because our frame of mind is, I'm too busy doing the impossible to have this conversation with you right now. You're going to stop me from doing what I'm already doing, which is problem solving and taking myself to the next level. I was looking at the rain just a few minutes ago. You saw it was pouring. And when it started pouring, I got inspiration for what I wanted to talk to you about. Because I remember one time when I was on my way to a concert, and I was supposed to be playing at this concert. And we were on our way to Cambridge, and it just started pouring down rain from out of nowhere. And it was so bad that we could only go 5 to 10 miles per hour. And there were people in my car that said, maybe we should just pull over to the side and wait. But I noticed there were a few people in the traffic that just went 5 to 10 miles per hour. So I said, no, let's just keep moving. And we kept moving. We passed cars that were on this side. And I traveled for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I saw a completely clean break where there was no rain and the sun was out. I went on to my concert. I enjoyed the concert. And we got phone calls from other individuals that said, you know, I was on my way, but I couldn't make it because it was raining too hard. Those people got sidelined because they didn't keep moving forward. We have to learn how to sometimes just work in the rain when conditions aren't the best for us. You managed to do this as a class of 2021. There will be nobody that's going to have a bigger fish story than you all. The class of 2020 and the class of 2021, when you hear people later on down the road talk about how hard it is to go to school and to graduate from school, you tell them your big fish story. You ask them, well, tell me this. Did the whole world shut down when you were going to school? Well, I don't want to hear it. You can let them know it was hardest during this year probably than anyone else in our lifetime. Just keep moving forward. And I had to think about this during the time, as you heard earlier, when I was in college and I didn't do very well because I didn't have good study habits. And my problem was, I was on my way to class, and every time that sun came out, that sun just kept singing, "Go to the beach, go to the beach, go to the beach." And I liked that song. And so I started going to the beach instead of going to class. And I received this letter that said, "You've been put on academic probation." And I didn't pay it any mind. I kept on rolling because I knew I wasn't in trouble. I shouldn't be on probation. So I kept right on rolling. But I got another letter. And that second letter said, "You've been academically dismissed." And that hit home. I know what dismiss means. And so when I received that letter, it basically meant I had lost all of my financial aid, and they would no longer allow me to attend the college as a full-time student. And it broke my mother's heart. I had to figure out how I could continue my education without financial aid. And so it was at that time that I began to work in the rain. I looked and see whatever gifts and talents I had, and I knew I had some gifts and talents with music, and I just played in the church. So I went to several churches and said, "Hey, I know you're looking for some musicians. I can train musicians. If you get enough musicians in this church, I'll train them how to play piano by ear." And they said, "Okay." And they got a group of musicians, and I had $10 for 30 minutes, I think is what I was charging at that time. And then I went to another church. And then I went to another church. And before it was said and done, I was at 4 or 5 different churches, and I was teaching how to play piano, organ, lead guitar, bass guitar, drums, and I was giving voice lessons. I was traveling as far as Baltimore because they had a group of individuals up there, and I did whatever I could to put money into my pocket so that I could graduate from school, because I never understood the value of education until I had lost it. And so it took me 7 years to get a 4-year degree. And to this day, my boss does not know that it took me 7 years to get a 4-year degree, and I'm not telling them. So please keep the secret safe. But it did. To the extent that I received another letter saying next year or next semester, you're up for graduation. And I was shocked because I had been going to school so long, I had forgotten that the goal was to graduate. I thought the goal was just to take another class, do your best to pass. Long story short, 7 years later, I received that degree. And I just kept moving forward, one day at a time, 1 or 2 classes at a time, and it took my career in a path that I could never imagine. I share that with you on today because I never want you to be discouraged because you're not moving at the pace that you want to move at or that other people think that you should be moving at. I was able to live a success story, and I don't know how it's going to end. I have no idea, but I'll share this with you. Each of us in here need to make sure that at all times we are the people that's in charge of our pen to write our ending for our story. Don't ever give your pen to somebody else and they become responsible for writing how your story ends. Be careful of your friends, the things that you're involved in, because it hands your pen to somebody else to write the rest of your future. On today, I want you to keep in mind that you own your own pen, your own destiny. You write this story, and I can't wait to see how your story unfolds for the class of 2021. I want to congratulate you on today.
We will now move to presentation of the diplomas. Dr. Hammond, if you would like to join me. Dr. Hammond, in recognition of the records and the achievements of the students of this class, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the principal of Wacomico Evening High School, I certify that these students have met the graduation requirements established by the Maryland State Board of Education and the Wycomico County Public School System. Accordingly, it is my pleasure to recommend and present to you for the conferring of diplomas, the spring graduating class of 2021.
Mrs. Bratton, in recognition of the records and achievements of the students of this class, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me as Superintendent of Wycomico County Public Schools, it is my pleasure to certify and accept for the conferring of diplomas the graduates of Wycomico Evening High School, spring class of 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Hanlon. I would like to ask Dr. Nolan, Mr. Smith, along with Mr. Malone and Mr. Palmer, to come forward. Dr. Hanlon, I will now ask that you remain standing and the other guests on stage stand.
Good evening, graduates and guests. Welcome to our 23rd commencement program, and congratulations to all the graduates. We've had a fun road together this past year since I've been here, and I know that you're going to do great things once you leave us and move on to whatever it is you decide to do in your future. I would ask that row one please stand and proceed to the stage. Brea Chantel Carter. Trayvon Eli Elise. Michael Allen Bosky. Stephen Randall Hastings. Naya Corinne Hudson. Takim Xavier Hurt. Bria Nicole Lashley. Tashana Chantel Matthews. Philip Ian Miller. Noelle Alexandra Nelson. Phoenix Sierra Potter. Kaylee Alexis Williams. Caitlin Elizabeth Wolf.
Thank you, Dr. Nolan. I'm going to ask all our graduates to stand. I think this is the moment you've all been waiting for with those tassels. Symbolizing a person's transition from student to graduate, I will now ask the class to please remove your tassels from the right to the left side of your mortarboard. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to leave you with this. Tim Elmore may have said it best when he challenged a group of graduates, much like yourselves, to be true to yourself. You can do anything if you put your mind to it and follow your passion. Life will present you with three options. If it's in your control, you learn to take responsibility. If it's out of your control, you learn to trust the process. If it's within your influence, then you make wise decisions. And in other words, listen to what your parents told you to choose wisely. Okay? Honored guests, families, and friends, I thank you for joining us tonight. This was my first. I will forever remember this. Although we're still in a pandemic and we're working our way out of it, I'm still happy we were able to meet the way we were here in person. And with that, I want to say have a safe trip home and go out and celebrate your graduates.